Restoration.
Hello, it's another beautiful day, and this is Restoration with Stacy. We're brought to you by Kind Cuts, Yas Washing Powder, Hooch Corn and Choco Flakes, Yas Sanitary Pad. And ladies, are you trying my purple pack? I know most of you say, oh, when is that time of the month? It really gets funny because you have to change over and over again. But this time, Yas is giving you reasons not to worry about changing over and over again, because this new pad is extra long. When I say extra long, the ladies understand it. It's extra long, so no matter how long you are at work or at school, it can see you through and you don't have to really think about any leaks. I'm also saying thank you to Special Malt. Are you enjoying Special Malt? Yeah. And also to GTP New Style. You love my fabric? Yeah, it's from GTP New Style. To NASCO Electronics, we are sure to have our NASCO moment today. And you know what? I'm very excited today because my guest will be having a NASCO moment. Wow. And I'm seeing what my guest will pick, because my guest for today has been sitting in a very high position and making decisions on most of your lives. So I'm really anxious to see what our guest is going to pick today. I'm saying thank you, big thank you to Fix Faces by Rami for my makeup, to Ophelia of ABS Collection. Thank you very much for my outfit. And today, I know most of you are going to stay extremely glued to your TV sets. In most Ghanaian extended homes, at least 2 relatives are always known to travel abroad, and at least 10 relatives are refused visas in a year. How many of you have been refused visas here? No, let's be honest, let's be frank. But today, I'm going to give you reasons to understand why certain decisions are made on your visa applications. And I'm really privileged that we have a man who happens to be the representative of the most powerful nation in the world, the United States of America. Please, let's welcome the ambassador for the United States of America, Ambassador Jackson. You're welcome, sir. Kindly take a seat.
Thank you.
Are you excited today? Yeah. You want me to ask all your questions?
Yeah.
Sure. Ambassador, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm really well. And I'm really humbled that you offered to come and give us this education today. You've been in this ambassadorial business for so long. You've been in 7 different African countries. I want to find out, how different is each country?
Very different. So I first came to Africa in 1985 and went to Burundi. And I had never set foot on the African continent prior to that. I had not studied a lot about Africa, but I immediately fell in love with the people, the issues, and every country has been quite different, linguistically, culturally, from a historical point of view, regardless of the colonial influences, and it's been very stimulating. But the most important thing that I've discovered is in the course of 2 or 3 years, you can really see what you've accomplished in a developing country, and that's what's kept me coming back again and again.
1985, Africa wasn't that developed. We were still growing. Were you not scared? Did you have fears coming to Africa, thinking about malaria, thinking about cholera, thinking about all that the world was portraying Africa to be?
No, on the contrary, I was very curious. I thought that it would be an adventure. I will confess that my mother was not entirely happy, but once I sent her pictures of where I was living and some of the things I was doing, she was very reassured. Okay. And I have always looked at this as an adventure. And after I got married, my wife and I went to Zimbabwe just after we got married. And one of the reasons that I married her was because she was looking for adventure. So I've given her plenty of adventure.
Plenty, a whole lot. So which of the countries has been your most favorite?
For many years, Zimbabwe was our favorite. I think partly it's because it was our first country as a married couple. But since then, I would say Morocco. Now, I haven't finished my tour in Ghana, so I'm going to leave Ghana out of the equation. But up to this point, I would say that Morocco was our favorite.
Did you have any low moments?
Oh, absolutely. But you grow from your mistakes and your challenges. There have been high moments and low moments. Professionally, I would say that the time that we spent in Côte d'Ivoire was very difficult. I won't say it was necessarily a low moment. It was a low moment for the country. But I felt that the work we were doing was really important. So we were there from 1998 till 2001. We were there for the coup, the very violent elections, 2 mutinies. It was very disturbing because you would be awoken by gunfire in the middle of the night.
Oh.
It was quite dramatic, and certainly that was a low point for Côte d'Ivoire. Yet, for me, I found that our ability to influence the government, to, I believe, help get democracy back on track in that country, and be able to prevent or reduce human rights violations was really important, and that was what I was focused on during that period.
So anytime you are on a different post, do you go with your children?
My wife and I do not have any children. We take our 2 cats with us.
That's so cute. So cute. Growing up, is this what you always wanted to do?
Yes. When I was in the 8th grade, I read a book called The Ugly American. The Ugly American portrays American diplomats in a fictional country in Southeast Asia in the 1950s. And these diplomats do not speak the local language. They really don't understand the history. They definitely don't understand the culture. They spend most of their time associating with one another and going to cocktail parties. And they're failing miserably. They're not having any impact on the country. And they're very isolated. So I was very influenced by that book, and I said, I can do that, and I can do it much better than they've been doing it. And so when I was in my final year of university, I took the Foreign Service exam for the first time. And talking about failures, the examiners were very honest with me. I had passed the written exam, but I did not pass the oral exam. And they said, you need more. No, that's all right. They said very honestly, you need more international experience. So I found...
So then it means you are refused a visa.
In a sense, in essence. But I didn't take no for an answer. So I found a teaching job at a French university. Then I found another teaching job at a boys' boarding school in Switzerland. And in between those jobs, I reapplied. I passed both parts of the exam, and here I am.
You're good to go. Wow, that's good. So if you fail the first time, don't give up. Just keep going.
Yes.
Do it again and again till you get it right.
And I'm sure we'll talk more about visas, but I do want to say this.
Yeah, I like that. I'm sure everybody wants us to talk about that.
Sometimes our visa officers make mistakes. We all make mistakes. If you believe as a visa applicant that the officer made a mistake, then you reapply. But you have to ask yourself, honestly, did the officer make a mistake, or am I making the mistake? And if in your heart of hearts you believe the officer made a mistake, then you should reapply. And we will make sure that a different officer interviews you the second time so that you're starting with a clean slate.
Okay. So most Ghanaians are of the perception that the American embassy is not friendly.
Which makes me sad because I'm very friendly. No, so I think most Ghanaians look at the embassy in 2 contexts. They drive by and they see all of the security measures that are in place. And so it looks like a fortress. But once you penetrate the walls, I think people inside are very friendly, and we make every effort to make people feel welcome. The other part that they see is our visa section, which is very busy, but we've put in place a lot of measures to make it a friendlier place. For one thing, we've dramatically reduced the waiting times for people. So if you have an appointment at 8:30 in the morning, we're going to see you within an hour maximum so that you're not waiting. We've made a conscious decision to give people staggered appointments. So if you show up for your appointment at 6:30 in the morning, we're not going to let you in until 8 o'clock if it's for an 8:30 appointment. That way, the waiting room is not congested, it's not hot, we're moving people through efficiently, so we're trying to be respectful. And I assure you, I tell my consuls frequently, I want you to be respectful. And I want people to believe they've had an honest hearing whether they receive their visa or not. And we make every effort to ensure that people get a fair hearing. Now, one of the things I hear is that they didn't look at my documents. But the
Which people sent us when we said you were coming.
Right.
They said they get there, they don't even look at their documents, and they tell them, we are sorry.
The reality is, though, that most of the documents have already been looked at before the interview. All of the information that you send to us with your visa application or the introductory letters online has been reviewed before the interview even begins. So the officer's goal during the interview is to address the issues that were raised by the documents.
Is that to say the decision of getting a visa is actually done before you even get to the embassy?
No, the decision's not made. But the basic questions where you have a line of inquiry, where you want to know more about this person or their purpose of travel, are the questions that you develop as you're reading through their application and the accompanying materials.
Let's get to family. Most families have either the husband or wife in the United States, and they try for years to get their children and their spouse to join them. And most people have said the process takes a long time. And one lady sent us an email that because of this process, her sister had to divorce the husband because the husband had moved on and had started another family. That is one of the reasons they're saying it's not fair. Why does it take that long for families?
So for people who are immigrating to the United States, if they are the immediate relative, the husband or wife of a U.S. citizen, the process is generally quite fast. For more distant relatives, children, cousins, nieces, nephews, process is based on our immigration law. And built into that immigration law is a waiting period, unfortunately. So depending on what country you're from and what the relationship is with the person in the United States, it can take years. And that's the way our law is written. It's not something that makes me very happy, but it's not something within the ability of our consular section to control.
Wow. Let's talk about visa contractors. Do you know they exist?
Oh, yes. I know they exist. Sometimes they are quite present outside the walls of the embassy, which is not illegal.
How are you able to spot a contractor?
They're handing out pieces of paper. Wow. That's a real giveaway. So I strongly advise people to avoid these contractors. They say, if you take this package of documents in, you're sure to get a visa. If you take that package of documents in, you're almost certain not to get a visa. We want to know about you. We want to know if you really have a business, if you really have a good job, if your family is well established in whatever undertaking they're in. And the people who show up with these false bank statements and employment letters that are easily verified as true or false, the false ones, they're going to be denied because they're committing fraud. So my best advice to all visa applicants is be honest. Don't listen to the advice of visa fixers and fraudsters. Be honest, tell the truth, and we issue the majority of people who apply, contrary to public perception that almost everyone gets denied. The majority of people are issued visas.
So averagely in a day, how many visas do you issue?
So I can't tell you how many per day. I can tell you how many per year. In 2017, we issued 16,000 visas for tourism, business, and study in the United States. We currently have about 3,000 Ghanaians studying in American colleges and universities. And in that same year, last year, we issued 4,500 visas for immigration to the United States. And a good part of that was under the diversity visa lottery, where people who have at least a high school diploma can put their name in a lottery. Ghana, interestingly enough, attracts more participants from the diversity visa lottery than any other country in the world.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm quite serious. So there's tremendous interest in immigration. We make every effort to facilitate it, but it's not a fast process. So let's take the diversity visa lottery as an example. If you apply for the diversity visa lottery, from the time you are chosen in the lottery process, you will have your interview and be on your way within less than a year. That's part of the program. But again, if you're a relative of someone in the United States and the relationship is not husband and wife, and the husband or wife is not a U.S. citizen, it's going to take a long time.
Restoration.
We've come a long way and we're constantly on the move. We go bravely, confidently, gracefully. For we are the gracious ones. We love, we share, we give. We are the inspired ones. We laugh, we teach, we live. Our mothers and fathers, our sons and daughters, our brothers and sisters of every day and forever. All of us are a gift to each other. We live a life that's never ending. Our beauty is a never fading grace. GTP, timeless.
It's a beautiful day. I'm gonna make most of it. It's a beautiful day. A day to share with you. You make my world go round. Yeah, yeah. It's really got me saying, nice girl brings home happiness.
Experience the wide range of top quality and affordable electronics, phones, tablets, home and office appliances from NASCO.
I've got yes comfort. I've got yes confidence. I've got yes freshness. We've got yes protection.
Ultra thin, wide wings and leak guards. Yes sanitary pads give you maximum comfort, hygiene and protection in a resealable pack.
We've got yes protection.
Yes sanitary pads. Maximum protection, maximum confidence.
Don't worry, we've got yes protection.
When I'm down and I need something to cheer me out, well, it's an exclusive drink, vanilla flavored and so refreshing. Special malt. Special malt. Guess what? Special malt makes me feel okay. Special malt. Giving you in the system before drinking tea. Special malt. Special malt makes me feel okay. Special malt. So clean and smooth. Oh yeah, enjoy yourself. Special malt. Special malt makes me feel okay. in the system before drinking tea. Special malt.
Special malt. Feel special.
I love to eat a tasty breakfast in the morning. Something delicious and healthy, filled with vitamins. That's my day right, makes me so bright. Keeps my body happy. Let me tell you about what I eat. It's my secret. Hooch, crunchy, crunch, cornflakes. Hooch, crunchy, crunch, cornflakes. Hooch, crunchy, crunch, cornflakes. Hooch, crunchy, crunch, cornflakes. Wow! I say hooch, crunchy, crunch, cornflakes. Hooch, crunchy, crunch, cornflakes. Crunchy!
Hooch, healthy for everyone.
Restoration.
At the embassy, you have so many departments. You have agriculture, you have economics, you have cultural affairs, so many. Why do you need so many wings under the embassy?
Because it really speaks to the extraordinarily complex relationship that we have with Ghana. So this is the largest embassy that I've ever worked in. We have a large USAID mission. We have a regional USAID mission. Some of our officers cover as many as 20 other countries from here in Accra because Accra has good transportation links. We are doing a lot of work, not only in Accra, but in the region, in health, in education, in agriculture, in security cooperation. And that requires people. And we employ 3 times as many Ghanaians to assist with that work as we do Americans.
Speaking about military, what is the main agenda behind the military base?
Thank you for asking that. So there is no military base.
They said, well, America is bringing a lot of military guys to take over Ghana, and very soon Ghana will be for them. Is it true?
No, it's not true. So first, we're not building a base. The Defense Cooperation Agreement that was debated by Parliament this year is the 4th such agreement we've had with Ghana. For reasons that are better explained by the government of Ghana than I can explain, the 3 previous agreements were never approved by Parliament. They were never sent to Parliament. I welcome the debate about whether the cooperation with the United States in the military sphere is good for Ghana or not. I believe it is, but we're not building a base. In 3 weeks, we will be having a few hundred American soldiers coming here to train with the Ghanaian Armed Forces. Okay. Some of them will be doing training. Some of them will be trained at Ghana's Jungle Warfare Center. Ghana is currently the only African country that is training U.S. forces.
Whoa. Are we not proud of ourselves?
And it speaks to the fact that we believe that this is a stable, secure country that can be a real partner in training and cooperation. And that's why we wanted a cooperation agreement that's up to date, that speaks to the volume of things that we are doing, that speaks to the fact that we're doing regular military exercises, naval exercises, exercises on land, exercises with the Air Force. We're working with the police, and it's all in an effort to make Ghana more secure, to guarantee that in a region that's not as secure as we would like it to be, here's a real bedrock of stability. And I've heard about the tunnel that we have from the embassy to the airport. Believe me, if there were a tunnel from the embassy to the airport, I would never drive to the airport. All of these stories about a base, a tunnel, these other things are fabrications. And we have a great cooperation program. It includes strong security and military component, but the soldiers come, they do the training, they leave. We have no permanent base here and no desire to have a permanent base here. The commander of Africa Command was just here on Tuesday to meet with President Kufuor. They had an excellent meeting. He also met with the defense minister, other senior officials in the government, and then he left. And our soldiers come, they do their work, they leave. It's as simple as
they
that.
Don't stay.
No.
So I heard from outside, not from me, that the base of the embassy is a military base. Is it true?
I'm not sure what you mean by you mean the embassy itself?
Yes, within the embassy.
No, it's not true.
There is no military base.
No. We have 7 Marines, as we do in nearly every embassy around the world, to provide security. And we have a defense attaché and a team of attachés, one for each military service. And we have 3 officers who work on our cooperation programs. If that constitutes a base, it doesn't meet the definition of base that I've ever heard.
Well, I wanted to find out this. Most Ghanaians have been worried that they pay a lot for visa fees. And they are of the view when they are refused, why can't they have their money back?
So when you pay, we have a unique system in the United States. Maybe not unique, but it's unique to some countries. So you're actually not paying for the visa. You're paying for the time and the process that go into the visa application. So you're paying for the computer time, you're paying for the person who meets you at the gate, you're paying for the person who interviews you. All of that time is calculated, and it's recalculated periodically every few years to make certain that we're covering our costs. So if you look at it in that respect, you're paying for a service, not for a visa. And so whether you're a successful visa applicant or not, you have received the service. So that's what you paid for.
So what do you do with the money? Don't you want to know? That's a lot of money every day.
All of the money goes back to the U.S. Treasury. And it becomes part of the general government budget. The embassy doesn't keep that money.
So everything goes back
to Washington to be redistributed.
So how do Ghanaians benefit from the embassy?
In so many ways. Let's take a few concrete examples. We're engaged in our Millennium Challenge Compact to invest $500 million in the energy sector. Ghanaians will remember that 2 years ago, up till 2 years ago, the power was on and off, doomsor. And since the last 2 years, with significant investment in the energy sector, power's been pretty steady. It still goes off from time to time, but it's been pretty stable.
It is better.
So we believe that the investment that we're making in the electricity companies and in the electricity sector for new power lines, new transmission facilities, solar street lights, rewiring of the major markets around the country in Accra, Kumasi, Tamale. We believe this $500 million will ensure that Ghanaians have reliable and affordable power for years to come. And if Ghana is going to take that next leap from a producer of raw materials, gold, oil, cocoa, to a producer of value-added materials, it's got to have electricity to do it. Now, a Philippine company was just selected to run ECG, not to own ECG, but to run ECG for the next 20 years. And Parliament will soon be reviewing the agreement. And again, I welcome the debate. But this is not a privatization, and the company is required to invest an additional $500 million over the first 5 years of the concession. So there's $1 billion being invested in Ghana's electricity infrastructure to make it A, reliable, B, affordable. Now, people have said to me, oh, but the company will fire all the workers, which they cannot because that was part of the agreement.
Okay.
Secondly, that electricity prices will rise. that's not up to the company. That's still up to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, the PERC. PERC sets the tariffs, not the company. So the company cannot raise tariffs at its whim. And third, we believe that with reliable power and more people getting power and being able to depend upon regular power, we're going to need more workers, not fewer workers. So we think electricity will become more affordable as well as reliable. So that's one area. I won't spend as much time, but I think there are a lot of misconceptions about what we're doing. In health, we've been very active on malaria, and the incidence of malaria has come way down in Ghana. It's a huge advance and a great sign of the partnership. Maternal child health, the number of women dying in childbirth has gone way down. Nutrition standards are improving countrywide. We are building more CHIPS compounds to bring healthcare closer to communities. We've delivered 8 in the last year. We'll be delivering 16 more before the end of this year. And I'm very proud of that contribution. In education, this is a subject that, as a former teacher, is really dear to me. So we have embarked on a very ambitious partnership with the Ghana Education Service to redo reading in the primary schools. We've switched over to a phonics-based program. When we started, only 2% of second graders could read at their grade level in any language, in English or one of the 11 indigenous languages in which teaching is done. I believe when we see the test results in August, we're going to see a huge leap. So, to date, 700,000 students have been trained with this new phonics program. 30,000 teachers have been trained, and we've distributed 5 million textbooks for the public primary schools in the country. All of that within the last 2 years. And I'm emphasizing that because I believe that for Ghana to take advantage of its stability and its resources and add value, it also has to have a healthy and educated workforce. So that's what we're working toward. In agriculture, we're building small dams, we're introducing new seed varieties. We've got a great partnership with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. We are expanding the poultry industry. We're investing $55 million in Ghana's poultry industry. Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, is sourcing more and more chicken locally because they can rely on a steady supply that's healthy. And last but not least, in the security area, we are providing equipment so that Ghana can be ready to deploy more troops if it wishes in international peacekeeping operations. And we're providing the training that goes with that. So, and that goes beyond just peacekeeping. We're working with the Navy, we're working with the Air Force. We're enhancing the capability of Ghana to be able to, A, defend itself and also project peace outside of Ghana.
Talking about education, I realize you have a library at the embassy. Is it open to every child to come and read?
Yes, you have to check in at the main entrance to the embassy, but the library is open. We have a lot of books, but even more than that, we have millions of books that are available online. And so you can come and use the computer to do research, to read. We're doing more work with Wi-Fi and the internet access programs, electronic readers like Kindles. So yes, we welcome people to come and use the library. It's a great resource, and we have a great staff there. Right next to the library is a room where we do educational advising to help students who want to study in the United States or consider studying in the United States. We have very talented educational advisors here in Accra and in Kumasi, and we're happy to meet with students, whether they're looking at college or looking at advanced studies in the United States, to give them advice and also assist them with with finding funding if they are not able to pay for American universities, to apply for scholarships.
Great. Scholarships was the next thing I was coming to, because mostly we have very brilliant kids from very unprivileged homes who would have to let their dreams go because their parents cannot afford. How do you fish out for such children to help with scholarships?
So we try to go around the country to different schools to make people aware of possibilities for study. Over the last 2 years, we've done 2 educational fairs here where we've brought American universities here as a group to talk with students about the university programs, but also to make it clear that if they need financial assistance, it's available for the best students. So many of the 3,000 students from Ghana who are in the United States studying at present are on scholarships. Some are full scholarships, some are partial scholarships, but we're looking for talent. And many American universities have converted to what's called needs-blind admission. So if we admit you, if you can't pay for it, the university will pay for all of your costs. In addition, last year we sent about 180 Ghanaians on professional programs. Some of these are Washington Mandela Fellows who are going to the United States for 7 weeks of professional training, either in entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, meaning work with non-governmental organizations, or from the government civil service. We have people going for Fulbright programs, either to do study or to teach in American universities. We have people in Humphrey programs who are getting professional advanced degrees in a specific subject that is related to their work in government. We send scientists under specific programs, especially in agriculture, to improve their ability to help Ghana's farmers be more effective and efficient. We also send a variety of people from the arts, from the media, from all sorts of fields on what are called international visitor leadership programs. And together, that makes about 180 people a year. We send people to community colleges for 2 years of study that's more vocationally focused. So it's a broad range of programs. It is quite selective, but I think we're responding to a real need. And if I had my way, I would invest even more in these education programs because they break down barriers. They allow people to spend time in the United States, to understand the United States, and they also allow Americans to learn about Ghana and Africa.
Restoration.
We've come a long way and we're constantly on the move. We go bravely, confidently, gracefully. For we are the gracious ones. We love, we share, we give. We are the inspired ones. We laugh, we teach, we live. Our mothers and fathers, our sons and daughters, our brothers and sisters of every day and forever. All of us are a gift to each other. We live a life that's never ending. Our beauty is a never fading grace. GTP, timeless.
It's a beautiful day. I'm gonna make most of it. It's a beautiful day. A day to share with you. You make my world go round. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really got me saying, nice girl brings home happiness.
Experience the wide range of top quality and affordable electronics, phones, tablets, home and office appliances from NASCO.
I've got yes comfort. I've got yes confidence. I've got yes freshness. We've got yes protection.
Ultra thin wide wings wings and leak guards. Yaz sanitary pads give you maximum comfort, hygiene and protection in a resealable pack.
We've got Yaz Protection.
Yaz sanitary pads. Maximum protection, maximum confidence.
Don't worry, we've got Yaz Protection.
When I'm down and I need something to cheer me out, well, it's an exclusive drink, vanilla flavored and so refreshing. Special malt. Special malt. Guess what? Special malt makes me feel okay. Special malt. Even you in the system, before drinking, see. Special malt. Special malt makes me feel okay. Special malt. So clean and smooth. Oh yeah, enjoy yourself. Special malt. Special malt makes me feel okay. Special malt. Guess what? Special malt makes me feel okay. Special malt. Even you in the system, before drinking, see. Special malt.
Special malt. Feel special.
I love to eat a tasty breakfast in the morning. Something delicious and healthy, filled with vitamins. That's my day right, makes me so bright. Keeps my body happy. Let me tell you about what I eat. It's my secret. Hooch, crunchy, crunch, cornflakes. Hooch, crunchy, crunch, cornflakes. Hooch, crunchy, crunch, cornflakes. Hooch, crunchy, crunch, cornflakes. Wow! I say hooch, crunchy, crunch, cornflakes. Hooch, crunchy, crunch, cornflakes. Crunchy!
Hooch, healthy for everyone.
Restoration.
Are we really expecting 7,000 Ghanaians to come back home?
Eventually, yes. But let's break the number down.
Okay.
So, approximately
7,000 is scary.
It is scary, and it's the 5th highest number in the world. When we issue 16,000 visas in a year, we expect those people to come back to Ghana at the end of the time of their visa. Some of them don't. So over a period of years, 7,000 people have either broken our immigration laws or other laws. 3,300 are under what we call final orders of deportation. Okay. But that does not mean they're in detention. Around 100 are in detention at any given time, but the others are facing deportation. And another 3,600 approximately, the numbers change, have had at least one deportation hearing. But we make certain that there's a legal process, that a judge hears their case, why they overstayed, why they shouldn't be compelled to go back to Ghana. It's a very lengthy process. So last year, we deported about less than 200 people. No Ghanaian should be afraid that tomorrow, flight after flight after flight is going to arrive with 7,000 people. That is not the case. However, we would like the government of Ghana, through its embassy in Washington and its consulate in New York, to issue travel documents to Ghanaians who are being deported in compliance with international agreements that Ghana has signed. Just as Ghana deports people, so far this year, Ghana has deported 100 people. And every country deports people, but it gets attention because these people come back on charter flights from the United States. Our preference would be if the Ghanaian embassy in Washington, the consulate in New York, issued, on average, one passport per day, interviewed one of the people to be deported per day, they would come back on commercial flights. Because we're legally, by our own law, only allowed to hold people for a specific period of time. And if they do not get their travel documents, we have to rush to put them on a charter flight to get them out of the United States before we have to release them. So we could do away with these charter flights where people complain about the fact that they're in belly chains if the Ghanaian embassy were regularly issuing travel documents. Now, I want to say another word about that, forgive me, but the argument that I hear from the government of Ghana is that we need to screen to make certain these people are Ghanaians or not. I agree with that. I'm not asking Ghana to accept people from any other country. But you and I can get a pretty good idea who's Ghanaian or who's not just from asking questions about the country, about language. Surely the Ghanaian embassy employees in Washington can do that too.
Yeah, sure. So when people are being deported, it means they've been in the system for so long. It means the country has benefited from these people because I'm sure most of them do work. Most of these people are doing few things that is helping the growth of America. Are there instances where certain people are pardoned and are allowed to go through the right processes to get proper documentation?
So if they, yes, is the simple answer. But the circumstances vary enormously. If they marry a U.S. citizen during that time, for example, they are not likely to be deported unless they've committed a serious crime. If you commit a serious crime, the fact that you're married to a U.S. citizen becomes irrelevant. If you can show a judge a good reason why you should be allowed to remain in the United States, for family reasons, for professional reasons, for other reasons, then you won't be deported. The people who are being deported, for the most part, have overstayed their visas, come to the attention of the Immigration Service because they are working illegally, or have committed crimes. But the criminals are a small part of the people being deported. So I don't want to overemphasize that. It's mostly people who are working illegally and who have overstayed their visas.
How do you detect, because America is so big, so do you go to their workplaces? How do you detect?
Sometimes our immigration service does go to workplaces, but more typically, people get arrested for something and their documents are checked and they're identified as not being legal. And one of the problems with being an undocumented worker is not just that you're working illegally. You tend to be in shady enterprises, and so that is what draws the attention of the Immigration
And I'm sure they do not pay
Service.
taxes
No.
to the government.
No.
Okay.
So we want Ghanaians to go to the United States for tourism, for business, for study. We welcome them for immigration, but if they want to immigrate, do it the right way. Apply for an immigrant visa. Apply for the diversity visa lottery. And don't overstay your visa if you're there on a short-term visa.
Well, let's assume I'm in America for a short-term visit and I get sick and my visa is almost due. What do I do?
Either you or somebody on your behalf contacts the Immigration Service and says, I'm sick. This just happened in Houston a few weeks ago. A case came to my attention. A young woman was pregnant when she traveled. Her baby came very early. And so neither she nor the child could depart on time. So she contacted the Ghanaian embassy. The Ghanaian embassy contacted the Immigration Service. She's been given a lengthy stay, I think 6 months, to allow her to regain her health and for the baby to get strong. We're not cruel. We're really not. We try to be very reasonable. And that's why the number of people being deported among the 7,000 is a few hundred. But those few hundred have exhausted all of their legal appeals and have committed either a serious immigration violation, worked illegally, or committed a crime. And so we want them to leave. It's as simple as that.
You're retiring soon. What will be some of the fondest memories?
Oh my goodness, there are so many. I'm very proud of the work that my team and I have done here on combating trafficking in persons. This is an issue that Ghanaians don't talk about very much, but approximately 100,000 children are doing very dangerous work in the fishing and Galamsey illegal mining areas, and they have been literally sold by their families to people who do not speak their language. The families send them off believing that they will have a better life, go to school, learn a trade. But the reality is that in general, these children are abused, they're malnourished. When they are rescued by the anti-human trafficking police, you see signs of broken bones, you see scars. Nearly all of them are malnourished, and a lot of them are psychologically traumatized. And the fact that, but the fisherman or the miner will say, well, these are my children or my nephews and nieces. Well, if they were his nephews or nieces, I'm sure they wouldn't be physically abused. They would be in school. And when you go out on Lake Volta, as an example, you can see which children are working with their families because they're better clothed and better treated and better nourished. The warning signs are the ones who are malnourished, who have obvious scars, who act afraid when people approach them and ask them questions, and most tellingly, do not speak the same language as the fishermen. Those are our immediate signs that these children have been trafficked. And I believe that all Ghanaians have a responsibility to work together to get people out of that situation. I want to say as well, Secretary of State Pompeo issued the annual trafficking report 2 days ago. It recognizes that Ghana has made much more of an effort to combat trafficking, has prosecuted more people, has rescued more children. And in the introduction, it talks about the fact that communities in Ghana have really worked to make those communities trafficking free, to raise awareness, to work with families who are at risk of selling their children. So I'm very proud of that. The other thing that I'm very proud of here in Ghana is the work that we did with civil society, with the National Peace Council, with the Electoral Commission, with government, with other diplomatic missions, especially the United Nations, on the 2016 elections. A lot of people were very concerned that those elections would be difficult, violent, non-transparent, and I think that the work that was done in partnership with all of these organizations resulted in very clean, very transparent elections that really set a tremendous example for not only Ghana, but for Africa.
Wow. It has been amazing, hasn't it? Yes. So now when you're applying your visas, you know you have to be what? Honest. Honest. And go with the right kind of documentation. So I also have my visa application here. Yeah. And this time, I think Ambassador is the one applying for my visa. So this is a game we play on the show. It's called the NASCO Moment.
All right.
NASCO is one of our sponsors, and they give our guests the opportunity to take something home every time they come here. So I'm going to ask you to choose one envelope.
Okay.
Okay. So kindly open it. Whatever it's in, it's yours. Let's see what the ambassador picks. Maybe he'll pick thank you.
I get a NASCO hairdryer.
Wow.
Which I think I'll give to my wife.
Yes. So thank you very much, Ambassador Jackson. It's been amazing. It's been so enlightening. I know that Ghanaians are going to begin to look at the embassy with another eye. Well, it has been amazing again, and I'm sure most of you who sent questions to us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you are a bit calm now. So the American embassy is not unfriendly. It is friendly. Just be honest. Make sure you have the right kind of documents. And when you go there, they would be nice to you. And if you really deserve your visa, you will get it. And like Ambassador said, he tried the first time. He didn't succeed. He tried again. So you just have to keep on trying. And you never know. One day you meet your angel and you get your visa. And when you do go, make sure you're coming back home. That is the most important thing. And I think that is the most reason why most people do not get these visas. So thank you going out to our sponsors, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, Special Ice, Yas Washing Powder, and Yas Sanitary Pad, to Hoochcon and Choco Flakes, to NASCO Electronics. NASCO, thank you very much for our NASCO moments that you give us every day. To GTP New Style, thank you very much for my fabric. Ophelia of ABS Collection, thank you very much for putting this fabric to life. And to Fix Faces by Rami, thank you so much for my makeup. And to Roji One at Dacoman Kukompe Eye Clinic, Roji, thank you very much for my hair. It has been amazing again. And we know that next week we'll be able to bring you another story that will teach you how to live life positively. Always do remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. We'll see you same time next week. I'm Stacy.
This is where to share it all. A common place for one and all. Let's hold each other's hands and stand tall. Set yourself free and tell it all. Restoration.